Hi, and welcome to the 30th episode of Basha's Thoughts. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the idea of letting go and some experiences that I recently had with it and some insights that followed along. So, the other day, I was feeling a little bit heavy. You know that feeling you might have when there's a sense of obligation or things that you have to do. They are not exactly totally overwhelming, but there's this little sense of heaviness that kind of colors everything you do, your mood. And what I noticed happening was that there were some things that I needed to solve. There were some things that I needed to do. So it wasn't something very simple and easy to just go ahead and do. So that sensation was following me, and when I started looking at some things that I imagined would be in my future, they were all kind of heavy. They were all with that sense of heaviness. Everything was colored by them, and the future looked a little bit bleak, and there was a sense of pessimism around everything. A little bit, and the feeling of just wanting to basically lay under my covers and not have to get up. I suppose it's a little bit a feeling of depression, but only very slight. And so I decided to do something, try something. I know that music can help me sometimes, and I know that dancing can help me. So I put on some music and I started dancing. I could kind of feel the music, but again, everything was colored by a negative outlook on things. So I took a walk, and that means a little bit of exercise. After that, I lay in a hammock out in nature at sunset. I don't know if you've noticed, but sunsets and sunrises tend to bring a very particular type of energy with them. I'm not sure that I can describe it, but it's very special when you tune into it, when you're able to be just quiet in nature, feeling what is going on. And this is what I was doing. I was laying relaxed in my hammock, starting to let go, and just breathing, just feeling the presence of nature, the beauty of the sunset, the shifting colors, the change in how the birds sing, the night insects and animals starting to wake up. It's their morning. And just opening up, listening in an open, wide way, not to any particular thing, but to everything. So that's a sense of relaxation of the senses, the hearing, the seeing, the thoughts, relaxing the body. And as I did that, and I was almost feeling as though I was breathing in my surroundings, there started to be a natural sense of well-being that would bubble up ever so slowly, and I would feel happy, an inner type of happiness. The heaviness was almost gone, but as I got up from my hammock, I started to wear it again. It wasn't as strong, but I still had a little bit of it. So I decided to do some emotional surfing. And I asked myself, what would I feel like if I were totally free? What would I experience if I were able to do anything at all, completely free? And the first thing that came up for me was a feeling of expanse. Wow, that feels really good. And then within that feeling, there would be little resistances that would stop it from expanding further. So I looked at them, and these resistances, they had something of disbelief in them. So they said something like, well, that's not really happening. Well, that's not even possible. That couldn't happen. And so I would start releasing them, and I would transform them into a looking forward to. Instead of the negative feeling, I would think about, oh, but I so much look forward to being able to do that. And if that were possible, that actually is a little bit a magical word for me, because then I can let go of the disbelief. Well, I'm not saying it is possible, I don't have to believe it, but if that were possible, what would it feel like? And what would it feel like to look forward to that? The ifs are very powerful when it comes to going around your disbelief for a moment. And then I would actually tune into the feelings. So instead of focusing on any particular events, things that I might do, have, experience, I would focus on the experience itself and the pleasantness and the expansion of it. So that's like moving away from what is pretty rigid and already decided, that which is limited because it's already defined. And events can be like that sometimes in our minds. Thoughts can be like that also in our minds. And I would move away from that and into just the expanse of the feeling. And that is where I would surf. I would try to keep my balance and continue riding that particular wave of expansion. And whenever I'd come up against other feelings, the disbelief, the inner resistance, I would transform it into a looking forward to. And after a while, I didn't even know what it was I was looking forward to, but it just felt so good, and I felt excited and happy. And I felt that I was able to let go of more and more. It was a very nice exercise, and interestingly enough, after I finished, I noticed that it kept going. My focus would move away to other things around me, things that I started to do, and I would think about other things as well. And yet, that inner surfing would kind of keep on going in the background for me. And so I decided to look to my future and see what it felt like. What does my future feel like? What do the events that I had been thinking about before feel like? And this was really interesting for me to notice, because I thought that as soon as I would think about those things that did not feel so good, I would immediately fall back and I'd feel the heaviness. But now there was no heaviness. And actually, when I was imagining these same possible future events, I was excited about them. I was happy about them. I was looking forward to them. It's so interesting how much you can just program into yourself, basically. How the looking forward to, on a deeper level, would just shine through as a mood that would color everything. And now everything that I would think about would have this positive spin on it. And I was able to think about it, and I was able to feel good about it. And that made me want to think about it. That made me want to do all of those things that I was supposed to do. That was interesting. Also, I forgot to tell you, before I did the emotional surfing, after I was in the hammock, and in the hammock, what I was doing was basically letting go. That was the practice. Let it be. Let it go. Whispering words of wisdom. Let it be. Right? I mean, this is something that is ancient knowledge. Everyone tells you about this, and yet we don't do it enough. Letting go for me means that I physically let go of any tensions. That's usually my first part. I let go of the tensions, and then I let go of the tension in my senses. And so that means that when I look, I don't focus on anything. It's a defocusing. And I see as if I were looking at the horizon, far away. So I see everything in the same way around me. I give everything the same amount of attention. I do the same with the hearing. I relax it. And I don't focus in on any particular sound. I let all of them come in and see how many I can listen to at the same time and hear and just relax with them. I do the same with the sensations in my body. I try to feel everything equally, be aware of everything equally. I do the same with my thoughts. I relax them. I try not to focus on any particular thought. And just like when there's a particular bird that comes in and starts to sing, it doesn't immediately grab my attention and I don't focus on it. I just let it sing in the background. I do the same with my thoughts. When a thought comes up, I let it be. And very quickly it falls away. And so this mode of letting go and opening up and allowing for change is very powerful, because this is what it does. It allows for something that is bigger, because the defined is already defined. What is bigger, in order to move into it, you need to let go of what is defined. Just like Winnie the Pooh said about the owl, when he said, "Owl knows so much." Maybe that is why owl doesn't understand that much. See, knowing is having a strict definition. I know, and therefore I am fixated upon a particular idea. And then I cannot really move beyond it. Understanding is a little bit larger. It's a little bit beyond knowing. And then you can move beyond that and more into your intuition, and tap into the wisest being that you can be. You can hear your wisest voice by letting yourself expand into it, by releasing any definition, any limitation, delimitation. And then the silent whisper, the never imposing, never threatening voice might just come through. And this is what happened to me when I was laying in the hammock. At the end, when I was pretty much ready to move on with my evening, I had this almost imperceptible realization. I almost didn't realize it. And it was an idea that was actually a solution to one of my problems. It was something I didn't feel quite good about, but I didn't know of any better way of doing it, and it was something about the future, and that was bringing me this heaviness. Well, at least a part of the heaviness. And now, in the silence, in the expanse of letting go, it just presented itself ever so gently. And I realized, after I repeated it to myself, that this was actually an awesome solution to what I was wanting to do. So whenever we are able to let go, we are able to move beyond. I believe that movement is all that is, in the sense of the things that we can perceive. And whenever we fix the movement so that it repeats itself, that's when we delimit it. That's when we see a particular thing being a particular thing. And that can be very good. But I think that moving beyond that is the most valuable part, because whenever we reiterate the same thing, we are not being creative. This is when we are living as more programmed beings. I suppose it's only when we start looking at ourselves and really understanding some ways in which we work that we start realizing that, my goodness, most of my thoughts, most of my reactions, most of my moods, most of everything that is going on is just pre-programmed stuff. Am I a robot? Am I just reacting to everything in a deterministic way? Or maybe it's not even deterministic. Well, if we want to move beyond that, if we want to move into a truly creative being, if we want to tune into our wisest self, then we need to let go of the definitions we have. Not really believe our thoughts too much. Not really believe our beliefs. Expand beyond them. Find different ways of expanding beyond them. This is why meditation is so powerful, because it is a practice of letting go of your thoughts and moving beyond them. I know that in the beginning it can be frustrating because you have so many thoughts that are coming up and you're only able to release a little bit. And so the only best thing you can hope for in the beginning is just maybe feeling a little bit more relaxed. Like maybe one day when you were really relaxed, you can feel that now, but you're not going to tune into marvelous new worlds, amazing experiences. Well, at least probably not in the beginning. And yet, it is starting to align you more and more with your inner voice, the one that is truly wise, your wisest self. So these were just a couple of thoughts about letting go. And letting go of beliefs also means letting go of beliefs around who you are. Those are powerful ones because they can be truly freeing. They can be truly liberating. And they can bring an enormous expanse to us. and great joy and freedom. So these were just some ideas that I had around experiences I had recently, and they were all about letting go. Thank you for listening today, and I look forward to talking to you in another podcast episode. Take care.